So you saw our video announcing the YouTube giveaway. We're gonna be handing this truck, this 1975 Ramcharger, to one of you, our YouTube subscribers, when we hit 100,000 subscribers. So go tell your friends, get your family to sign up. All you gotta do is click that subscribe button. When we hit that 100K mark, we're gonna give this away to a subscriber. Now we're quite a bit a ways from that, which we're gonna use that time to rebuild this truck into a truck that's worthy of RestoMods.com and what you guys are expecting from our type of builds. So right now, we're gonna take this thing out for a spin because it does run and drive and stop. So we're gonna go take it for a spin, and then we're gonna come back in here and take a look. All right, so we're gonna take this thing for a little test drive. See if we can get her started. Like a dream.
Yep.
Like a dream.
Old Faithful.
Wonder what all these switches do.
Pretty sure the heater works on this thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't describe this car as fast. I wouldn't describe this truck as fast.
It's torquey.
Yeah, it's got a little get up and go.
It is a 440 with a 4-barrel and headers. I think stock other than that.
I mean, steering's got a little play in it.
Yeah.
And isn't centered, but it works.
It's got character.
It's not super squeaky. It's got a couple squeaks here and there. Brakes feel good, actually. Surprisingly good. Joe, what do you think of these vibes so far?
I love it. I feel like I'm living the California dream.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of winter right now.
It's not a nightmare.
So suspension actually feels pretty good.
Not bad. I noticed it's got some brand new Rancho shocks.
Yeah, we might have to save those.
I don't mind that.
So I guess what we're looking for is just how does it drive? How does it ride? Does it stop? Brakes actually feel great.
It's got power brakes.
How does it sound to you?
Sounds like it has an exhaust leak, a massive one.
We've seen that.
It seems to run good.
Dang, just eating up those potholes. I like it.
Dude, I feel like I'm in Ace Ventura 2 when he's like,
oh yeah.
Steering's a little loose!
So we're speculating that it was either a Forest Service or maybe even a Border Patrol truck because it's got that unique mint green in certain areas under the body. You can see it's been repainted a few times, but
yeah.
It leads us to believe that. I don't know how you would prove that unless you had an original order form from the government or something, but
true.
It wasn't uncommon for these to be used as Forest Service or Border Patrol federal type vehicles.
We did get a couple guys saying we should Hellcat swap it.
So kind of make like a throwback. I mean, it's not the worst idea.
No. Anytime you can put a supercharged Hemi in something,
you should do it, right?
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
All right. This is when that 10,000 pound lift was a good call.
All right, let's check this thing out. All right, so we just got back from taking this thing for a cruise. Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe. I love it.
I'm pumped on this thing.
We should be. So, thing runs, drives, and stops. What do you think?
I love it. I mean, it feels like a good old 4x4. I think we can make it better, but
we didn't have anything to like run over. We didn't have any dirt to get into, which was kind of frustrating.
And no drama, which is good. You know, this thing just cruises along around town. It's great, but yeah, we might have to test it up in the hills a little bit.
I feel like we should get into some dirt before we start taking it apart, which we are definitely gonna need to do. These bumpers they do not look original.
No, I think somebody custom made this. Looks like it did have a tire mount here at one point. It's got a plug for a trailer hitch. But it's a pretty beefy bumper. You know, whoever rear ends this thing, this is not gonna move.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like these, but at the same time, I think we should probably upgrade this bumper setup.
Yep.
This tailpipe,
we got the twice pipes on there, so
yeah.
That 440 just singing out those two pipes, but.
And a couple holes along the way, I think.
Yeah,
we were smelling some exhaust on the drive.
Exhaust got a few leaks, so we'll revise that and maybe tuck these a little closer. That way you're not dragging them when you're going on a steep incline or something.
It'll be interesting to see what they look like when we put it up on the rack. This thing has a real tailgate, which I love.
It's got a tailgate, it works.
Tailgate works.
Yeah, the good thing is this thing doesn't have a lot of rust. There is some rust to be expected of something of this vintage, but not a lot.
Looks like some Bondo repair in here. So I think at the bare minimum, we're going to take out this carpet kit and see what we got in terms of the I guess you can't call it a trunk pan, a bed pan. That's kind of a different thing.
Yep.
Let's climb up in this thing and we'll see what we got.
Yeah, the doors are almost useless because you can.
Come on up here.
climb around in the jungle gym, which I like. But the interior is actually nice. It's got, I believe these are the stock buckets. This one like flips in a unique way to have access to the back seat, but they're all reupholstered. It's got this little cover to protect the back seat, but it's upholstered nicely as well. It's all this black. This is kind of remnants of when it was white. So I have a feeling we're gonna go through all of this and get this all really dialed for you guys.
Can we get a zoom in on those paint drips right there? Somebody got a little too excited.
Yep, and materials were cheap that day, so they just threw in some bonus paint.
Some extra paint. And those are the extra gauges. We talked about those on the drive. You can see they did put in a Kenwood modern stereo, and you can see the speakers right here.
Yeah.
But you can also see that these are kind of mounted to something, and they didn't bother to take them out when they painted this black, so there's still some white behind them.
Yeah.
But they actually work really good. We turned them on. It's got this custom cover. I don't even know. It's a canvas color cover.
Yeah, it's the soft top. You know, I think when these trucks were new, you could get a dealer installed soft top. I don't think this is it. I think they were further back, but
they would go over the whole end of the truck, right?
Yeah, so this has like a more sporty cage that doesn't go all the way back there, but we do have the original steel hardtop for this too, so that'll be optional. It just bolts onto the bed rails here.
Can we do like a quick release on those bolt-on things?
Yeah, we could maybe figure out
cool
some hardware that's a little bit less tool heavy. You know, you can maybe do it with your hands, but it's a heavy top, so you do want it secured. It's all steel top. So.
The center console's got a really cool.
Yeah, somebody got after it with bending some diamond plate. And
yeah, and there's an amp in there.
There's an amp.
If you can see the pedals way up there, you can see what we were talking about. The gas pedal is, I guess, a clutch pedal.
Yeah, we got a little square guy on there. So
yeah, and then you can see some wiring hanging down from there. I don't know what all of these switches do. I know one of them's an electric fan for the front, which we didn't really need. It never got over 160.
No, I had an auxiliary fan, and you know, that's another thing that makes me think, you know, maybe in service they would leave their cars running a lot, so maybe the auxiliary fan was to help keep it cool. This transfer case.
Jeremy, come sit where I'm sitting so you can film this stuff.
This is going to be. We read a little bit on how these work, but they're kind of unique. Maybe someone out there can school us a little better. But from what we understand, it's a full-time four-wheel drive, and then you can lock it in high or lock it in low. And then you also have neutral, which, from what I read, people use it sometimes for a power takeoff, which is like an old school, you could power a winch or something like that with a power takeoff. So in neutral, you could, you know, get the car where the engine is turning a power takeoff and use that for something. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, it's a unique transfer case, so we'll have to figure out all the pros and cons of that. And you know,
full-time four-wheel drive is pretty cool.
It's kind of neat, yeah. It's got a big glove box.
That's a huge glove box.
I think somebody mentioned this is like revolver shaped, which, you know.
You could do like a Dirty Harry. What is that, like a 44 Magnum?
This is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world.
It was an AC truck originally, so it's got the big box here. We'll probably upgrade that, maybe vintage air or something a little more modern.
Definitely they added some controls in here. Was this the old horn you said?
Yeah, it looks like another add-on horn.
So there's 3 horns in here. Here,
only one works.
And here. Junior, heads up. Never gets old.
That works.
So before we open up the hood, couple things. One, these hood pins are a real marvel of engineering. You can find these for 49 cents at your local 7-Eleven, right next to the give a penny, take a penny tray. Those are right there. The other thing is this awesome hood ornament that we have here. Now I know this came on some of them. I don't know if it was 75, but
I don't know what year they started putting that on.
I did see that when we had a comment from a guy who said we should redo this thing like Lone Wolf McQuade, which apparently is an obscure Chuck Norris movie from the early 80s, and he had an early 80s Ramcharger that had this hood ornament on it. It had a different hood, but I don't know if it was original, but I really like it. And tell me what you guys think of this. Maybe like a Spirit of Ecstasy Rolls Royce where it like hides in there when the truck is off, and then as soon as you start it up, it like comes out and sits right there.
Or maybe actual ram's horns just sticking out.
Or like a real horn, skull and horns, the whole thing.
You never know.
Let's see what we got under here. There it is. So there it is.
It's got some horses in the barn here.
That's a 440.
Yeah.
It'll tell you a bunch of times too on these casting numbers that it's a 440.
That's good.
Alternator shiny and brand new.
Big cubic inches. It's got a dual battery setup with like some safety stuff for that, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean the thing started right up, which is cool for a carbureted.
Yeah,
engine.
looks like it's got a Edelbrock carburetor and some headers. So somebody was building a hot rod here. There's 440 leaks oil. That's how you know it has oil. But we'll get it all sealed up. We're debating. We kind of want to keep this engine. I like the big block.
I love it. I mean, we'll put it up on the rack here in a minute so we can hopefully look for a VIN number and see if it's an original engine to the truck, which will, I think, shape our decision a lot. But,
yeah.
There's a couple different directions we could go. You guys have put a lot of good ideas into the comments on where we can go with this build. And some of them involve replacing the power plant. A lot of people want to see a diesel truck. Some people want to see a Hellcat swap. If this is a numbers match at 440, I don't see it going anywhere other than maybe, let's pressure test it, maybe rebuild it.
Do a compression test. I mean, if we pull this thing out and we start getting into it, we know how that goes. We end up wanting to put all the good parts on it. So it might get, aluminum heads, a cam, all that kind of good stuff.
Just judging from the color of this looks like the original reservoir.
Yeah. Probably pretty rare. I think a lot of guys leaned over this to work on it. I see these cracked quite a bit, but this one's complete.
Yeah, this one's still all in one piece. All right, power brake. I mean, under here, I see some shiny stuff. The previous owner definitely did some work in here. The alternator looks new. Probably that was the same time as the double battery setup.
Yeah, it's got a lot of, wiring stuff that's been added on through the years. We'll go through.
Can definitely be cleaned up for sure. What's up with that firewall? Like how it's kind of, it looks like there's a firewall in front of the firewall. You think that's stock?
Yeah, it's just got like a two-piece stamp shape in it, but you can see more paint remnants under there too.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the mint green, and there's the blue, and there's the white. Here's the whole paint. Swing around this way, and you can see the whole paint history of the truck. So you can see the green underneath. Then at some point somebody painted it black, and then the white is over the blue. So I think it probably went green, blue, white, black.
Yeah.
Think?
So my question is, will a 671 blower fit in this cow here? Has any Dodge guys ever put one in a truck? Does it fit?
It's a good question. Let us know in the comments. All right, well, let's put it up in the rack if we can.
Yep.
So we managed to get this thing up on the lift, which was not a small feat. But
Safely.
Yeah, safely-ish. So kind of starting at the back, you obviously see these big exhaust pipes.
Exhaust pipes.
Fuel tank. Looks like a brand newish fuel pump.
Yeah, it's got an electric fuel pump. It's got a nice skid plate over the fuel tank. Starting to see a lot of like remnants of some sort of undercoating. It's really not a lot of rot as far as this goes. There's a lot of like undercoating we're gonna have to clear off and probably clean this all up and recoat it and go through, and body bushings we'll probably do while we're in there.
Is that all manual, like wire wheel kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we might be able to pressure wash some of this off, but yeah, we're gonna have to get in there with some tools, wire wheel, and just get down and dirty with it. But not a lot of rust back here, which is nice. We got some rust starting in the floor back in that corner. Probably trapped a lot of mud and stuff from these tires kicking up. Brand new 35-inch BFG, so that's good.
New shocks.
Yep, new shocks. Old diff leaking.
Yeah, there's definitely some residue on that.
Yeah, so that's gonna need a full reseal, and we'll inspect the condition of it at that point. But the rest of this floor under here looks good. The frame rails are really solid on this truck, no rot at all. Somebody was generous with the undercoating, so it might have helped save this truck from getting real rusty. Got the exhaust, drive shaft looks okay. U-joints are there.
I love how they welded this exhaust.
Yeah, somebody didn't have a tubing bender, so everything's straight, but angle cut.
A little teepee.
Yeah, we'll address that. That's probably gonna get changed. Also, I saw they didn't have clearance around the transfer case, so somebody just cut a nice little notch in the exhaust. That's rare. You don't see that these days. But the skid plate, also a spare oil retainer, it looks like, because it's caked in there.
Hold on here. Get some of this. There's some stuff in here.
Yeah, you get petroleum foliage there.
This is like, there's some stuff under here.
Yeah, let's leave most of that there for now. But yeah, it's got the the leaf spring front suspension. You can see the long tube headers here. Trans pan, all that's well oiled. I think this 440 is going to need at the minimum a rear main seal because it's leaking out of there. Dana 44, I believe, this front end. That's what it looks like. It's well caked with grease as well. We got some spare brackets. They probably had some sort of setup, maybe for a plow or something in here. It's got an interesting front leaf setup. It's almost like they extended this. So we'll revise that and make that nice. A lot of that too is braced on this front bumper, which I think we're gonna get rid of. So we'll figure out this shackle situation up here a little bit better. Other than that, pretty good. It's got front disc brakes and they stop well. They seem to stop this thing pretty good.
Engine's got a casting number. It says it's a 440, which we knew. But I don't see a VIN stamp on here. I think they usually were here, right?
Yeah, that pad
this little
there.
tab here.
Yeah, I think some of the Mopar guys can chime in, but I think the replacement blocks, most of them didn't have it. So it's possible that at one point in its life, it got a replacement 440, you know, either at the dealership or whoever owned it at that time. The date code, did you see a date code that seems correct-ish on there or no?
Yeah, 4275. And then there's a cast number that ends in 440-4. All right, so we had it up in the rack. What'd you think overall?
Overall, not bad. I've seen a lot worse, especially with trucks that have been in service and used as trucks, and four-wheel drive ones that have seen all kinds of different terrain probably in its life. I always wish they could talk and tell the story, but in reality, they tell a story. You know, you look at them and you just see the condition everything's in, and they do kind of tell the story. So this thing's not bad. I mean, it's a good starting point. We got a lot of cleaning to do, obviously, just to get it, you know, where it looks a lot more decent under there. That's pretty normal for a vehicle of this age, this type of vehicle. We'll get in there and dress her all up and then service anything as needed. A lot of the body mount bushing, just service parts we'll go through. And then, I don't know, depending on what we do with it, a lot of people are saying trophy truck and stuff like that, so maybe everything gets ripped out, we don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, that kind of is the next phase of this thing. Now that we've got a good idea of what we actually have on our hands, we got to come up with a plan.
Yep.
You know, like we talked about before, you always got to plan your builds and build your plan.
That's
so
it.
we need some help from you guys. Jump into the comments. Tell us what we should do to this thing. Do you want to stick with the original 440 power plant? A lot of people were talking about diesel. Some people were talking about Hellcat. Some people were talking about all kinds of things. So give us your suggestions, Mopar guys that know these trucks better than we do. Let us know what we should be doing on this thing.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of, you know, have my own ideas of what we should do. I think, you know, it's got to come off the frame, and I think we should clean that whole thing up, but that's a, you know, that's a whole bunch of work. So we want to hear your feedback, your suggestions. What should we do? Because at the end of the day, one of you guys is going to take this truck home. As soon as we hit 100,000 subscribers, we're going to hand the keys to this truck. Hopefully by then, it's all done. We got quite a ways to go to 100,000. So tell your friends, tell your family, jump in there, subscribe to the RestoMods YouTube channel. You can see all the stuff we're working on here in the garage. We've always got different projects going on, and we push that content to our channel all the time, and we're just going to be trying to turn out more and more for you guys. So it's a win-win. Subscribe to the channel, get great content, might win a truck.
That's it.